Sandwiched between the banks of the Missouri River and the Missouri State Capitol building in Jefferson City runs one of the busiest railroad main lines in the Show Me State. Union Pacific's aptly named Jefferson City Subdivision hosts freights and Amtrak passenger trains running between Kansas City and St. Louis on this former Missouri Pacific trackage. After a crew change at the old Mopac depot just beyond the Capitol, this westbound coal train heads out of town. This train serves the Ameren Utility Company. These empty cars are headed back to the mines in Wyoming for reloading. U.S. Highway 54 crosses the Union Pacific Main Line and Missouri River on these sweeping truss bridges. The coal train is stopping to drop off a hopper car that's been having mechanical problems. While the coal train holds the South Main, a St. Louis-bound freight headed up by SD70 Ace 9058 rolls by on the North Main. The main line between Kansas City and St. Louis is made up of 3 segments. The Jefferson City Subdivision is a double-track route from St. Louis to its namesake. From River Junction westward, directional running is in place between 2 separate but roughly parallel routes. Most St. Louis-bound freights take the River Subdivision by way of Boonville. Meanwhile, the vast majority of westbounds use the Sedalia Sub. The exception to this arrangement is all 4 of Amtrak's daily River Runner trains, which use the Sedalia line in both directions to serve the larger population centers along that corridor. GE AC44CW-CTE number 5899 serves as the distributed power on the rear. The line branching to the right is the remnant of the old Bagnell branch, which until the 1960s ran south to Eldon, Missouri. The grounds of the Capitol building, high upon a hill overlooking the river, provide good views of the Jefferson City yard. Back down on the ground level, we're set up near the Amtrak station, in time for this eastbound River Runner train. The old Missouri Pacific Depot is still used by Union Pacific crews. However, all Amtrak trains call it the Jefferson Landing Stop adjacent to the Capitol building. At this time, in 2016, Amtrak services across Missouri still ran with GE Genesis series locomotives, hauling a combination of Amfleet and Horizon-style passenger cars. Since 2016, these Amtrak trains have been running with longer car consists on this particular route. This after Union Pacific implemented a new rule on this line requiring a minimum of 30 axles per train to properly activate block detection, crossing signal, and dispatching systems. So, to reach that number, Amtrak began running its trains with 2 to 3 extra non-revenue cars on the back, usually old baggage or mail cars. Next up, we find an empty UP coal train stopped at the old Mopac depot for a crew change. Freight crews swap in Jefferson City, but all Amtrak crews operate to and from Kansas City and St. Louis. These hopper cars bear the reporting marks of Union Electric, an Ameren predecessor. This train serves Ameren's West Labadie power plant just west of St. Louis on the Jeff City sub. The Midday River Runner between St. Louis and Kansas City comes in. This train's non-revenue cars include a buffer car, an Amfleet coach, and 2 old mail cars. Next, we head west 60 miles to Blackwater, Missouri, along the river subdivision. This small hamlet of 165 people makes no secret of its pride and its ties to the railroad. We didn't have much time to look around the quaint Main Street before an eastbound freight came barreling through across the Highway K crossing. The train flies past the town's old Missouri Pacific Depot, which had been moved back from the right-of-way and restored. Heading south a few miles now to the Sedalia Subdivision, and we're trackside to Matt Line's namesake city. A westbound freight with a BNSF run-through unit speeds past the town's Amtrak station. Sedalia, population 20,000 and home to the annual Missouri State Fair, is 60 miles west of Jefferson City. Seen here at Prospect Avenue, an SD-70 Ace leads an empty Labadie coal train. Later on, Amtrak Train 313 heads out of town for Kansas City. By this point, the brand new Siemens SC-44 Charger locomotives had bumped the old Genesis units from service on the River Runner route. Heading now to the eastern edge of town at Emmett Street, we find this SD-70 on the point of an American Electric Power coal unit train. This spot was the location of the diamond with the Missouri-Kansas-Texas Railroad's Sedalia Subdivision between Parsons, Kansas and St. Louis, until it was removed through here in the 1980s. Next up, back at the depot downtown, the bright LED headlights of one of the new Amtrak Chargers comes into view. This is River Runner Train 311 pulling in for its scheduled midday stop. The new Chargers were part of a 33-unit order purchased jointly between the states of Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan for corridor services out of Chicago. They were delivered beginning in 2017. In December of 2018, Amtrak announced it would be purchasing 75 more Chargers to replace the old Genesis units on its long-distance trains. Our next stop is 60 miles west along the Sedalia Sub in Pleasant Hill, Missouri, with its well-preserved 1903 Missouri Pacific Depot and caboose. The former Mopac-Carthage subdivision diverges south from here. The line is now operated by Genesee and Wyoming's Missouri and Northern Arkansas Railroad. MNA has trackage rights between Pleasant Hill and Kansas City. It's train time once again in this small town. A single unit, GE AC44CW number 6506, leads this empty coal train of utility company Entergy. 29 miles west of here at Rock Creek Junction in Kansas City, the River Subdivision rejoins the Sedalia Sub. Thanks everyone for joining us for this tour of Union Pacific's main lines across central Missouri. If you like this video, we'd appreciate you giving us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to our channel to get more great train videos coming your way. For now, thank you for tuning in to The Main Track. We'll see you next time.